So we're going to begin with some breath work, and I'd like you to notice that as you inhale, the belly rises underneath the hands, and that as you exhale, the belly falls away from the hands. And so breathing in through the nostrils, and then breathing out as if you're blowing through a straw. Breathe in through the nostrils, and breathe out as if you're blowing through a straw. So as you continue to breathe in and out, count to 4 on the inhale and 4 on the exhale. And so notice that the rib cage expands, the belly rises as you inhale, the belly falls, and the rib cage on the return. And so do that one more time. Inhaling and exhaling. And so as we move through this session, remember that we coordinate the breath with the movement. And so come to rest, the arms long beside you. I'm going to just put my hand underneath my head so that you can see me from the side. And so we'll begin with our pelvic rocking. Imagine that marble resting on the pubic bone, and roll the marble in towards the navel and then back towards the pubic bone. And so breath out as you roll the marble in towards you, breath in on that return journey. And so notice as you roll the pelvis in towards you, the back flattens, and then as you roll the pelvis away from you, the back arches just a little away from the mat. And so coming to rest in the mid position where the pelvis is neither in or out, back or forwards. And in this position, you should be able to notice that the pubic bone and the pointy hip bones are more or less level and parallel with the ceiling. And so now in this position, let's move on up to the shoulders. And I'd like you to raise the shoulders up towards the ears and then slide them down and away. And so we shrug the shoulders up towards the ears and reach the fingertips away. And so as we glide the shoulders up towards the ears, that's elevating the shoulders. And reaching away is depression of the shoulder girdle. And so in an ideal world, the shoulders should come to rest somewhere in the mid position, neither up nor down. And so let's float the arms above the shoulders and reach the fingertips this time up towards the ceiling. So breathe out as you reach the fingertips away from you. Breathe in on the return. And what you should notice in the back of the body is the shoulder blades glide around the sides of the body as you reach away, and then come back underneath you on the return. And so breathing out as you reach away. Breathe in on the return. And again, in an ideal world, the shoulders rest underneath the back of the ribs in this position. And so let's take the arms away overhead this time. And so now as we reach the arms overhead, I want you to notice what happens in the back of the body. And so in an ideal world, as we reach the arms away overhead, the lowest part of the rib cage stays nicely in contact with the mat underneath the back of you. And so breathe out as you reach those arms away overhead. And imagine 2 sets of springs between the lowest ribs and the pointy part of the pelvis. And those springs come under tension as we take the arms up and away overhead and prevent the ribs from poking up towards the ceiling. And so make this one the last one. And then resting the arms long beside the body. If we turn the palms to face up, that opens the front of the shoulders. And so let's move to the head and the neck. And I'd like you to gently nod the chin towards the chest. And then release back to the start position. So as we nod the head, chin moves towards the chest. And what you notice is the eyes will look a little downwards on the ceiling, and then return the eyes back to the vertical. And so we nod the head, keeping the back of the head down as we do. And then come to rest in the place where the eyes are just very slightly looking down from the vertical on the ceiling. And you've got space between the chin and the chest. And so last of all, let's think about activating the muscles of the center. And so I'd like you to put your fingertips onto the pointiest part of the pelvis. Walk your fingers 1 inch in and 1 inch down. And your fingers should rest in the soft part of your tummy. And so as we move through the session, we want to engage these muscles by connecting the mind or the thoughts to the muscles. And so to begin to become aware of where those muscles are and what it feels like when they're switched on, I'd like you to do a pelvic floor contraction. And so thinking about the muscles, the muscular sling in the pelvic floor area, squeezing around the openings in the pelvic floor, and as you do, you should notice a little bit of tension develop underneath your fingertips, and then release the pelvic floor, and you notice the tension dissipates. And so I'd like you to engage the pelvic floor again, this time thinking of traveling up in a lift. And so I'd like you to take the pelvic floor up to the 3rd floor out of 10, and then keep it there as we begin to move through the session.